Have you ever felt like you've wanted to simplify your life and, get rid of the stuff that you don't really use or love or need and make room for the things that you enjoy every day in your life? Because we don't really have time for all that, do we? Our life is very cluttered with stuff. So the idea, as parents especially, of having a simpler life is amazingly attractive. But then we remember the little toddlers, the teens, the little babies that we have that run our household, as well as spouses, right? that have things. And it seems almost impossible to live a simpler life when you've got little kids or even big kids in your household. So you might be thinking, that's impossible. Well, today I'm here to share with you how I do it with 4 kids and a husband. AKA 5 kids, right? No offense, but sometimes it feels that way. So if you're new to this YouTube channel, my name's Erin Cook. I teach busy people just like you how to find freedom and joy again by simplifying and systematizing their daily businesses and their lives. And I would love for you to go ahead and subscribe here because I do these trainings every week and I help you find freedom and joy again and make things happy for you again. And that's what I want for you. I want you to be able to simplify your life and enjoy it more. Get rid of the stuff that you don't want and make room for the stuff that you do. So go ahead and subscribe. Also, if you could please share this video and give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down. It gives me feedback and it also helps spread the word to others. That's very important in the business. I want to be able to share this with as many people. So if you can like and share, this would be super duper helpful and super appreciated. Today, I'm going to share with you the 10 things that I suggest doing to help your family introduce the idea of minimalism or simplification of your living arrangements as far as, your practices, your things, your activities, everything like that, to get them in a more minimal or simple state for you to be able to enjoy the things you want to enjoy. So the first thing that you have to do when you are wanting to introduce a more simpler lifestyle to your family, especially with children, is to be able to model that behavior. And that just means that you need to understand, number 1, why you're doing it, and number 2, you have to practice and live it. So when I say minimalism, it freaks people out sometimes, right? We think, oh, we gotta live like in this tiny house and we can't have a regular toilet, we gotta compost and all this stuff. That's not what I'm talking about. Minimalism is different for everybody. Yes, there's extremes, but what I'm talking about today is relative. So what do you feel would make your life simpler? What do you want to do and accomplish to make it easier for you to find that freedom and joy again in your daily life? What do you need to get rid of? What do you need to keep? It's all about your family's needs, your children's needs, what's best for you. So when I say minimalism, don't freak out. Just understand that it's a goal that you have to make your life simpler, easier, and more enjoyable. Okay, so that's step number 1, is you're gonna model this behavior before you ask your children to do so. And that's gonna help them understand that this is normal. This isn't something that's gonna be painful. I mean, it may seem that way. The journey is different, so it's a little bit harder to adjust, but it's not something that you're doing to them to ruin their lives, as it may seem. I remember when I started simplifying my life, somebody said how awful that is that your kids aren't going to have all the toys that everybody else does. And they're not going to have the regular kid experience. And I'm thinking, are you kidding me? I don't want my kid to have the regular kid experience right now. I mean, there's 10-year-olds walking around with iPhones. Like, whatever floats your boat. I'm not here to judge. For me and my kids, that's not what it's about. I want you to not listen to those people that are gonna say, oh, how awful it is that you're simplifying your life. Your kids are gonna miss out and yada, yada, yada. Okay, it's totally not that. It's actually the actual opposite. It's totally the opposite, where you're trying to give your kids the best life possible by letting them enjoy life and letting them be kids, by taking away all the distractions and the unnecessary things that they have and the unnecessary things that they need to do to make that happen. Okay, so that's what I mean when I mean simplifying or minimizing the way that you live. So that's number 1, is practicing it yourself, and that way it's not so scary to your kids. Does that make sense? Now, when you're ready to introduce it to them, say you've gotten good at it and you're like, okay, it's time to start working on the kids' stuff and letting the kids participate in this new lifestyle instead of just doing it for them. The next step is you need to talk about it with them. Let the kids know what you're doing and why, more importantly, why you're doing so. Explain to them, mommy and daddy don't feel like we have enough time with you. You're growing up so fast. We want to be able to spend more time with you, be able to do more things. And in order to do that, we need to get rid of some of the stuff that we have and make room for the new fun stuff that we're going to be doing. And this is just from the top of my head, suggestions of things that you can say to make it easier to understand for them. So, you know, in order to be able to do more things with you, we need to not have to clean as much. Maybe we don't need to go to work as much. Maybe you don't have to pick up extra hours at work so you can spend more time with the kids. Things like that, and relate it to your kids and your situation, and to help them understand why it is you want to simplify your life. And that's going to get them excited about it. Rather than jumping in and saying, okay, kids, today we're getting rid of a bunch of toys because mommy can't stand cleaning them up, okay? You can see just by your wording and explaining to the children what minimalism is or what simplifying your life means to them. It will help you on your journey, and it will help them understand and be more willing to participate in it. That's what I found, at least. So I hope that helps you as well. All right, so the next thing that we've always done is every time that it's going to be an occasion where kids are getting more stuff, like Christmas or their birthdays, we always have done it, and not because we've been simplifying, but it's just something we've done because I couldn't stand the toys and cleaning them up all the time, is to have them clean out their toy room or their playroom and make room for the new stuff. And we would donate those extra items and bring the kids with us to show them, here's what you put in the bag, and we're going to give it to somebody that doesn't have any toys. Okay, so I suggest starting out in a way that's not just jumping in and getting rid of stuff for no reason. Start by giving them a reason. So-and-so doesn't have anything. Let's take some toys, or maybe Christmas is coming up and I know grandma got you a bunch of toys, so we gotta make room. Which toys do you think we could give to somebody else? And then donate them, and just make that a habit, because simplifying your life is not only about making you happy, but it's also about giving time and attention to others that need it as well, because that's what living's about, at least in our case, and that's what I believe, is we're here to serve others and help others. And when we clutter our life so much with the stuff that we want, the stuff we want to do, you know, it doesn't really make enough time for other people. So this is a great way to introduce your kids to giving, in my opinion, as well. So make it a habit to give to others in whatever way you can. And that's going to also help them adapt this more simple and minimal lifestyle that you would like to have for them. So now we're ready to jump in, right? We've explained and introduced what we're going to be doing. Now it's time to actually do it. And what I suggest is not just jumping in and getting it all done at once. I know we want it done that way. I would love to have it done in a day. But realistically, think how overwhelming it is. Think how overwhelming it is for you to just go clean out your closet, right? That's an overwhelming task. So to ask your child to help, you know, do the entire toy room in a couple hours to simplify and minimize, it's going to be a lot on the child. So what I suggest is taking one room and one section. So let's say it's the toy room. Don't do all the toys. Simply do maybe the trucks today. Maybe your child collects Matchbox cars. We had about 1.3 billion of. So take the Matchbox cars, do those one day, or maybe 1 hour, you know, and then maybe later in the day do another section, but chunk it way down for the kids, because if you start to overwhelm them, they're just going to push away. It's not fun at first, and it's not fun for any of us to have to go through the actual process, but when they understand why, it helps them. But if we ourselves are working on a big task, we chunk it down so that we can take baby steps, right? I'm always talking about baby steps. So this is the same way. Pick one area of your room or your house, and then a section of that. All right, so if it's the closet you're tackling, don't do all the clothes in the closet. Do maybe the shoes one day, maybe the shirts another day or another hour. Just chunk it. So that's the next step to make it easier. All right, now we talked a little bit about this before, but the wording of how you approach this with kids is so much different with adults. We can understand as adults. So you heard me say it before. When you start this process with them and introduce what you're going to be doing, think of it this way. You've got two choices in the way you word things. You can say, okay, kids, it's time to get rid of the stuff we don't need. And what does that feel like to the child? You're taking something from them, right? So you could approach it like that, or you could approach it from the opposite end and say, kids, all right, I'm so excited. We are going to be able to give some kids some toys that don't have anything. Whew. What a difference it makes. And I made this mistake. That's why I put it on this list of things to remember to do. Because I myself understood what the outcome would be, but my kids didn't. You know, well, this would be Shayna because I started a while ago. So make sure you choose wording that gets the kids excited rather than making them feel like you're taking something away. Because remember, by simplifying, we're actually giving them life. We're giving them a chance to be kids. So I don't want them to feel like this whole situation is taking from them. It's adding to their life. So use words that are are positive and gets them excited about giving as well. So that's a great bonus to simplification. It's a huge. Now, the next question I got from somebody that was trying to do this was, well, what if my kids aren't totally into a toy and they say, I don't really play with it, but I want it still? What do I do? Here's the perfect thing that worked for us. And now that I know, see, minimalism wasn't around when I started this. It wasn't like a thing, okay? Because this was 9 years ago. And now it's huge, okay? So I can kind of relate and I can kind of see what other people have been doing, but it just wasn't out there for me to see at the time. So what we did was we actually got bins, and actually our bins were just laundry baskets. So whenever we would do this, a section at a time, we would have 3 laundry baskets and a garbage. So the first one would be the keep pile. What do they want to keep right now and play with? And then would be the donate pile or the get rid of pile. The third bin would be the bin where we were going to pack it away. It would still be in our house, but we would put it away. It's the toys that they didn't want to give up yet, but they didn't really play with. And so we would put it away. And then if the child asked, hey, mommy, where's my green monster truck? Oh, we had to dig it out of the bin. But then we knew that they actually had a connection with it at the time, and we probably shouldn't, you know, give it away right at that point. But that's something you can do to lessen the amount of stuff you have to deal with, but also to see if the kid really is attached to that, or if you can pitch it. And I would give it a few months maybe to put it away in your garage or basement or wherever that they can't see it. You know, so don't make it a clear bin, make it something that they can't see, because when they see, then they're gonna want, right? So make it something they can't see and just store it away for a while, not in the area where your toys are, because they'll get into it. I learned that as well when we were packing. Yeah, and that makes it easier to part with. And then sometimes they just forget about it. My kids forgot about so many toys, but they didn't really ask for them, so I just gave them away, right? So that's a really good tip that will ease that burden as well. And then of course the last bin was just the trash pile. Broken toys, clothes that didn't fit or that you couldn't donate, stained, whatever. So those are the 4 bins that will make this easier for your kids. Oh, this next tip, it's almost a no-brainer, but I felt like I needed to put it on the list because people don't always remember to do this. So the things that you keep, whether it be your keep pile or whether it's that bin that you're gonna tuck away, you have to keep just the items that you're using here and now in your living space, okay? So if you have a basement, if you have a garage, whether or not you store stuff in there, I would highly recommend putting those bins of things that you don't use right now away out of your living space, because when they have a designated area, like if you put all your bins in the garage, yes, your garage may be a little bit more cluttered, but your living space where you're spending all the time isn't as stressful because you don't have all those things boxed up and stacked and invading your closet space. You know what I mean? You don't have to be reminded of them all the time. So they're out of the way, they're in a place that's designated for a later date, but they're not invading your home and you're not reorganizing and reorganizing and reorganizing. Have you done that? I was a perpetual organizer. I love organizing. So when I had bins, I would go through them again and I would separate them in a different way. I would pull out things and it made my life crazy, even though I wouldn't admit it. So I had to put those things in a separate place. So just keep your keep pile, and that's it, in your living space. Everything else gets put in a designated area for later. Okay, that's very important. That will make your life a lot less stressful. Here's a big one. All these are big ones, right? I keep saying that, but there's a lot of important steps to remember that I found useful, and that's why I want to include them. Now, we talk about kids that don't have clothes, that don't have toys, that don't have food, right? We all talk about the kids maybe in Africa. Some people use that as an example, but there's kids everywhere, right in our own backyard, that have nothing. And instead of just talking about that, I would love it if you could, when it's age appropriate, get out there and show your kids that. Don't just talk about it, because it made such a difference when I started. My daughter was, I think she was 6. She had won a contest, a pageant, all natural. I'm not a pageant mom. It was her one and only pageant and she happened to win it. So we went to California. Well, instead of just taking the trip and, you know, competing and then on our time off, just living it up, she raised money and took bag lunches. I think we actually bought hamburgers on the boardwalk and got cups of water, and we took them and put them all through San Francisco where these people were that were homeless. And like, she actually saw homeless people. That's the first time she's seen them, and interacted with them. Were we petrified? A little bit. And obviously I wouldn't put her in a situation that I felt was too dangerous, but she did that. And that's when she really grasped what it was like to not live the life that she had. And I think that's so important for kids, right? You know, my kids included, they take things for granted. We all do sometimes. I think we have our little bubble and we have our little world where we try to keep our kids safe and we keep them happy and we keep them healthy and well fed and they have whatever they need. But man, sometimes when you get out there and see reality, because not all people are as lucky as we are so blessed, right? If you're watching this, you have a phone or a computer. Some people don't have anything. And to get your kids out there and realizing that makes the simplicity of minimalizing your life so much more easier to understand the importance of it and the importance of helping people. And I think that's what this whole thing is centered around, is I want my kids to understand that there's people out there that need our help. And one of the ways we can do that is just get rid of the things that we don't need and focus on other people. Like, that's my whole thing. Life is too short to be miserable. You need to go out there, make a difference, be happy, live your life the way God intended you to. And you know, this is a big step in that. So if you followed me already, you know that we do a blessing vacation every year. And next year I want it to be huge. I want you to come with us. So what we do is we go to the Dominican Republic and we go with all of our family to a nice resort. We have a vacation, but we take a day out, an entire day, to go to the Higway Orphanage. And there's 22 boys that have lived there their whole lives, most of their lives. Some have been found on the street, some in a garbage can, and they all have a story. And they're beautiful boys that live in this orphanage. And we go down every year. We take donations that we bring from the United States. And then this year, what we also did was we took the extra money that we had from raising money and went to a local supermarket and bought them fresh food, because you can't take it on the planes. And I thought that's a little bit easier than taking all the canned food that we did that weighed so much. Last time we took 12 suitcases full of stuff. This time we took, I think, 6, but we also stopped for groceries, so that made up for the other 6. And it was amazing. Like, my kids interacted and played with the kids. We don't speak a word of Spanish, and that's all that most of those kids speak. But when it comes right down to it, we're all humans, we all love, we all have the same emotions and the same ideas. And it was like the language barrier wasn't there. The kids had a blast together. We played basketball as a family. We also brought other people there with our families this year. We were super blessed to have other people join us. And we played a basketball game. We totally lost. I mean, you know, white people. I'm just totally kidding, okay? I just think I'm old, so that movie White Men Can't Jump was just in my head. So I didn't mean to offend anybody, but it was so fun because these boys, that's all they have was one basketball and one hoop. We were able to bring another basketball to them, but we played a game together. And my kids saw joy in a situation where normally you wouldn't think there would be so much happiness and so much love. They're in a place where they don't have parents. They have a wonderful system of people that take care of them. They come in, I think there's 3 different people that take turns caring for these kids around the clock. And these kids were beautiful and happy and loved. And it's just so eye-opening. So if you're able to come with us or you want more information, I'm just gonna plug it here. Go to blessingvacation.com. That's where I'm gonna keep everybody updated on the next Blessing Vacation. We're gonna do this every year and I want you there. This is a huge eye-opener. If you're scared to go into a culture that is different than yours and you want somebody with you, we're gonna be there. I will take you there. It's truly a blessing to go. You will take more than you give. As always, I'm always more blessed when I come back. So that's the next step in this whole thing, is to actually get out there and show your kids what it means to live a simple yet happy life and to see how blessed they are. They don't understand if they don't see it. You can say, hey, you should be grateful for your iPod or your iPad or whatever, because other kids don't have that. They don't even have any food on the table. See, these kids in the orphanage, they work on weekends and nights for their food for the week. They have to go to school and then they'll take turns going into the community to people's homes, doing chores in their homes in exchange for food to eat. Now that breaks my heart, okay? I don't think every child should have to work for their food, but that's what they do. And to be able to see that is really an eye-opener, and to be able to help them and just have fun with them is amazing. So that's the next step, is get out there. Even if you can't go on the blessing vacation, you know, do something. Volunteer somewhere, raise money for somebody in need, do something to show that your kids how blessed they are, because they really are if you're watching this video. The other thing I want you to start doing, our kids are so attached to electronic, and you've heard this before and you probably already have thought to do it, but maybe haven't really put the effort in. When you're simplifying your life, you have to show kids that they don't need the stuff that they have. So for instance, the electronics, yes, you can keep them for when you're taking a long trip in the car, whatever. But on a day-to-day basis, get creative. Have them help make meals. Make it fun. Teach them how to cook. Go outside and invent a game. That's what my kids do all the time. And growing up, I worked with my sister at the ice cream stand that I grew up working at, and she did too. And we had so much fun. We didn't have electronics back then. I'm super old, okay? Cell phones weren't even around. And what we did, we played hide the straw. So when we were bored, we would take a straw, you know, on a rainy day, and we were there together often. Take a straw, put a little mark on it, and then hide it somewhere in the store, and we would have to find it. And as dumb as it sounds, it was so freaking funny to play, because we'd hide it in the funniest thing. That I remember my sister just hid it in the straw bin, and it took me forever to find it because I was looking all over the store. But just getting creative, not being attached to a screen. We don't need things to entertain us. We need to make our own entertainment, okay? And we have gotten so far away from that as a world, a society. We find things to entertain us instead of entertaining ourselves, and that sucks. Like, you know, quite frankly, and I'm not judging anybody, because I have electronics in my house as well, but you have to encourage your kids to get out there and be creative. So take away the electronics, make them earn it by doing chores or something like that. Don't give it to them all the time. Let them make their own fun, because you're really depriving them of a super fun childhood. If you're my age, I'll be 40, you can remember the times where you just went around town on your bike with your friends. You did all sorts of stuff. Okay, kids nowadays are sitting downstairs like this, and it's sad. So don't deprive your child of a wonderful childhood. Okay, just because everybody else is. That's another high horse that I've gotten on, but that's just how I feel, and that's what I'm gonna help you understand where I'm coming from. And that's why I tell you, because I love you and I want you to have an awesome life, and your children as well. Last tip for introducing minimalism or simplification into your life, and that is to get involved yourself as a family in the community. So if your family can participate in things outside your own home, if you're in church, you obviously can join different groups. Different charities are always looking for families. If there's a fundraiser going on, form a team with your family and do it as a group. Let your kids know that it's important as a family to work together toward a goal. And that's not only going to teach them minimalism or simplification, whatever you want to call it, it's going to teach them life skills. It's going to teach them how to be part of a team. It's going to teach them that families stick together, which is another thing that's not really happening right now, okay? I want your family to stick together. No matter what your situation now, wherever you're at, work as a team. Just bring your kids so much closer to you, but so much closer to each other. Get them involved in the community and thinking outside of themselves. Now, as children, we're born selfish. That's just how God made us, because we need to cry in order to tell our parents that we need to eat. It's time to eat when we can't talk, things like that. We're born selfish, but we need to learn how to grow out of that. Unfortunately, I don't think that we're growing out of that as quickly as we used to. So I think that's part of our job, is introducing how to be a part of society again, instead of like this again. I think the internet has ruined a lot of things in this world, quite frankly, if you haven't noticed that already. But it also does good, because I am connecting to you through that, so I don't want to diss it totally. But I know that if you're watching this, you already understand all that. You're super smart. That's why you're here. You want to get better. You want to be able to enjoy your life again. You want to learn how to simplify, and you want to learn how to make it easy for your kids, so that everybody's on the same team, everybody's on the same page, and you can all enjoy life together, right? Now, the one disclaimer I have is my life is not all roses. As you see, I break down a lot in my videos. I talk about things that people are shocked by. Not in a bad way, but they're like, oh, I didn't know you struggle with that too. Yeah, you know, we're all human. And my purpose is only to help you. When I go through something, I share it when I find the answer, okay? And I don't share anything that I haven't gone through because I want to make sure that I've been through it before I actually help other people. And I think that's important as well. But I don't want to struggle and then have it be for nothing. I need to be able to help other people with that struggle. And I think that's important for all of us. This is just my way of doing it. I love to be on camera. I used to be an actress. A lot of you know that. So this is just my way. But find something to get involved in. Help other people in some way. And I think that's one of the biggest things that you're able to do once your life is more simple and you're not going around cleaning all the time, or you don't have to go grocery shopping as often because you're preparing meals that are already planned and you have all the ingredients already, if that makes sense. It just is all intertwined when you start getting rid of the things that you don't need, want, and love, and start filling your life with things and making room for the things that you do love and need in your life. Okay? So I hope you learned something from this. If you could please comment below with what you have taken away from this video. I would love to have you do that. And again, if you're struggling to be able to find the time to actually simplify your life, if your life is just so overwhelmed right now and you don't even know where to start, take the first step by going to findyourfreetime.com. That's my free PDF download that gives you a step-by-step walkthrough on how to automatically populate your schedule. But not only that, it's actually how to schedule. That is so important. I tell you exactly what you need to do every day and the things that you don't need to do. And I also tell you the order in which to do them so that you actually get them done. Do you feel like you do your to-do list at like halfway and then it's time for bed and you just like add to tomorrow's to-do list? This will help you with that tremendously. This is the exact way that I do the process every day. And this is how I am able to have 3 businesses and 4 kids and get things done. Okay, so again, that's findyourfreetime.com, but please go ahead and take the training. Also share this video with people that you think it will help and benefit, as well as give me a thumbs up and comment below what you liked or didn't like about the video. Even if you have ideas for other videos, I would love to help you. And that's the only way I can get feedback, is by you taking action on this page. So if you could go ahead and do that, that would be awesome. But I will see you in the next training. Until then, God bless. Head to findyourfreetime.com and we will see you there. But I did lose my train of thought. Oh my goodness. I forget. Oh, so regroup.